everyone. Hi everyone. Let's get started. I'm just going to show you the products, and I'm still using the January block party kit from Studio Calico and some of the digital products. I'm showing you some of the papers that I'm going to be using. I always try to start with the scraps that from the previous, and then I add some new uncut papers. So I'm going to start with this number paper. I just like the shade of it, and I want to do a page. I mean, it's apple picking, but for us, it's so much more than apple picking. Um, for my kids, it's like a family tradition. Every year we go apple picking and take for them. It's also an opportunity to make sure that we have family photos. And I also talk about the relationship that those are my two younger kids, and they're 6 years apart. So from the time that she was 12 and he was 6, they were the only two in the household because my oldest was 18 and had moved out. So they do have quite the special relationship. She's like a little mom to him. So I'm just going to decide on some of the die cuts, and I'm going to cut that paper apart, and I'm going to cut that doily in thirds, and I'm going to use 2 parts of it. I'm going to cut that tag in half, put half of it at the top and half of it at the bottom. And this is actually the 3rd time I'm doing the voiceover. The first time I had done the speed of 20 minutes or times 4, and I did the whole 20 minutes, and then when I went to listen to it, there was only 12 minutes recorded. So where I'm not feeling 100%, I just didn't feel like I could do another 20 minutes, so I sped it up to 8 times the speed, and just to get it uploaded. So I'm going to use some of that chevron, and I'm cut it out, and I'm going to use it in 3 different spots: at the bottom of the page, at the top right, and then at the cluster where my title is going to sit. So I'm going to use that speech bubble as part of my title, where my title is going to sit. And it took about 4 sittings to do this layout. I kept doing a little bit and having to walk away and laying down and stuff. So, but scrapbooking is such a part of my life that even when I'm sick, I feel like I have to try to do it a little bit. And my kids are all not all grown up, but we have my son is the only one left home, and he's 13 and a half, so he's pretty self-sufficient. I'm going to try and incorporate that die cut, but I just can't make it fit, so I'm sure I'll use it on another layout. I'm still looking to see what else I could add to that layout. Now I'm going to start working on my title. I'm going to have a bit of a hard time finding the wax paper. Oh, I guess before I'm going to do my own embellishment. I'm just going to punch out some of the green circles and tuck it under, because I do want to use those green thickers from the kit, and I didn't find there was enough green on the page, so that's why I added those circles. So at this point I'm looking for the wax paper. I'm going to start writing out the title, and the title is going to be so much more than apple picking. So apple is going to be in green, and than and picking is going to be in red, and so much more is going to be in black. Now at first I'm going to try and put so much more just on top of the green there, and then I notice I'm not going to have enough room to put the whole title, so that's when I decide to use the speech bubble for my title. I'm going to change my mind about the font, and I'm going to use just lowercase alphas for the word than. And I'm just going to try to straighten out everything at this point and put everything away. I do try and put stuff away a couple times during while I'm scrapbooking, because I can be quite the messy scrapbooker. So at this point, I had walked away and came back, and while I was gone, I thought that the layout needed a little bit more texture, so I took the bag that the Studio Calico kit comes in and used some of that Jenny Bolin ink. I used 4 different colors, 2 reds and 2 green, and just kind of distressed it. So I'm going to glue the 2 parts of the paper bag together, just so again it has a little bit more texture, and I only glued in the middle so the sides kind of curl up. And at this point I'm going to start gluing all my layout down. So where it is times 8, sometimes it gets a little jerky, so I'm sorry about that. But like I said, this is the 3rd time that I do the voice recorder, and didn't feel like I could do it for another 20 minutes. So I'm going to glue everything down, and once I have everything down, I noticed that I moved it way over to the right, and I should have had it moved over to the left. So I'm going to have to rip everything up and move it over. At this point, I'm looking for some ink to ink. It says Happy Memories, and I kind of make a mess, so I decide to stamp it 3 or 4 times to give it the illusion that I want it for it to be messy in the first place. And so I'm going to glue everything down, and then I'm going to rip everything up and move everything over so that my title can fit where I want it to be. I end up ripping the speech bubble a little bit, but that's okay. In the end, you can't really tell. So it's at this point then that I noticed that my title is not going to fit. The sky is so nice and blue that I figured I'd put the one of my words right on directly on the photo, because it would really show up. And but I didn't have enough room, and I didn't want it to go off onto the other paper because it wouldn't stand out as much. So I rip everything up, and then I end up ripping the background paper, and that's when I put more of that. I ended up cutting up another circle of that green paper, and I put a circle behind there to cover up that I had ripped the background paper. So I'm going to glue my top cluster, and shortly after, my battery dies. So then I had to wait for my battery to charge up. So I did end up gluing a little bit of stuff off camera, and right here is where you're going to see that I come back and there's a little bit of stuff glued, but I'm going to glue down my last speech bubble with the heart, and I'm going to glue down the potty people, and I end up putting a little chipboard heart in between the two to kind of talk about their relationship, that she is like a little mom to him, sorry. And I had done my journaling, and I had stamped on the bottom, and I put 2 glimmer glaze at each corner, a green and a red. And thanks for watching.